Hi everyone, welcome back to Sydney and Starlight, and if you're new here, welcome, enjoy the videos. So today, me and Sydney are going to be reading Disney's Mickey, Donald, Goofy, The Musketeers. So let's start. Who's that?
Mouse.
Mickey Mouse. Who's this?
Mouse.
Princess
Essay.
Minnie.
Make.
Who's this?
Duck.
Donald.
Go.
Donald Duck.
Gobby.
That's Goofy. Clarabelle.
Bye.
Who's this? The Beagle Boys.
Boys.
Who's this? Lady.
Iggy.
Daisy.
Jessie.
Lady Daisy. Who's this?
Yo.
Pluto. Who's this? Captain Pete.
Pete.
Three Musketeers. Once upon a time, there lived three young friends named Mickey, Donald, and Goofy. The friends dreamed of being like their greatest heroes, the Musketeers. The Musketeers were the biggest, bravest, cleverest soldiers in France, and they lived by the words all for one and one for all. Mickey, Donald, and Goofy were assured that they would grow up to be musketeers. Years passed, and the three little friends still dreamed of becoming musketeers. They even worked at the musketeer headquarters. If they worked hard, then They even worked at the musketeer headquarters. If they worked hard, then Mickey was sure that Captain Pete, head of the Musketeers, would notice them. Captain Pete did notice them when a water pipe accidentally broke while he was taking his monthly shower. When Captain Pete came crashing into the room, he found a disaster. Little Mickey couldn't control the wild pipe. Donald was hiding from the spouting water. Goofy was stuck in a ladder. We were practicing our teamwork so we can be good musketeers, Mickey tried to explain to Captain Pete. Pete just laughed. He thought Mickey was too small, Donald was a coward, and Goofy was, goofy. Pete would never make them musketeers. Pete quickly left the three friends because he had plans. Evil plans. Can you say evil? Plans.
Yes.
Plans! Pete wanted to become king of France. He had his lieutenant, Clarabelle, helping him. Pete had hired the Beagle Boys to kidnap Princess Minnie. Then at the opera, the next night, the smallest Beagle Boy would dress like Minnie and announce that Pete was the new king. Princess Minnie was unaware of Pete's plan. As she sat in the throne room, her thoughts were only on one thing. What does this say?
Yeah.
Love. He loves me not, Minnie sighed, plucking petals from a flower. Who's the lucky guy? Daisy, Minnie's lady-in-waiting, wanting to know. Trust me, Daisy, I'll know him when I see him, Minnie replied. Minnie and Daisy went out to the garden. When Princess Minnie paused on the palace steps, the Beagle Boys pushed the safe off the balcony. They just missed the princess. When Captain Pete found out what had happened, he was furious. I didn't say drop a safe. I said keep her safe, he shouted at the bumbling Beagle Boys. Pete turned to Clarabelle. Throw these clowns into the pit. Can you say pit? Pit. No, anything but the pit, cried the Beagle Boys. Clarabelle showed them no mercy and tossed them down. Fortunately, the pit wasn't very deep. Then the phone rang. Princess Minnie, a surprised Clarabelle cried. It seems Pete wasn't the only one who was angry. Sorry, I had a mishap. I don't even know what I was saying. Okay, moving on. I want bodyguards, Princess Minnie told Captain Pete. Musketeer bodyguards. Pete knew that real musketeers would interfere with his plan. Luckily, he had an idea. Princess, you're in luck. Have I got the men for you, Pete promised with a sly smile. Meanwhile, Mickey was trying to cheer up his friends. I'm sure there's some way we can become real musketeers. Someday, Captain Pete's gonna march in here and say, "Congratulations," Pete broke in. "You guys have what it takes to be musketeers." The three friends couldn't believe it. Mickey happily shouted, "All for one and two for tea," Goofy finished. Okay, so they weren't exactly ready, and that's just what Pete was counting on. Later, Captain Pete presented his 3 new musketeers to Princess Minnie. The princess was smitten when Mickey the instant she saw him. Pete promised that the 3 musketeers would fight anyone to keep the princess safe. That moment, Daisy entered the room carrying a tray with a knife and cheese. "Knife!" shouted Goofy. "Bad guy!" shouted Donald. The 3 musketeers tackled Daisy. Princess Minnie shouted, Oh, stop it! Drop her!" Things weren't off to a great start. And they were about to get worse. Mickey, Donald, and Goofy didn't know they were about to face real bad guys. Pete had ordered the Beagle Boys to kidnap the princess. The Beagle Boys were waiting as the royal coach passed by. The Beagle Boys jumped onto the coach. "Bad guys!" Donald shouted. Mickey was ready to fight, but Donald jumped into the coach. "Get back out here, you coward!" Minnie scowled Donald as she pushed him out. Donald landed in the mud. He watched helplessly as Mickey and Goofy tried to fight off the Beagle Boys. The kidnappers quickly outwitted Goofy, though, and little Mickey was no match for the big bullies. Can you say bullies?
Bullies!
Bullies! Soon, the 3 musketeers were in the mud. The Beagle Boys made their escape with Princess Minnie, and Daisy still in the royal coach. "It's hopeless," said Donald, sighing, but Mickey wasn't ready to give up. "Pete made us musketeers, remember?" Mickey reminded his friends. They nodded. "So we're off to save the princess," Mickey shouted. The 3 musketeers quickly headed after the coach. They found the royal coach near a deserted tower, but when Mickey and Donald tried to open the tower door, it was stuck. "Let me give it a go," Goofy said. He didn't know that Mickey and Donald had been pulling to open the door, so Goofy ran at it as hard as he could. The door swung open and Goofy raced past. As Goofy ran up the stairs, he accidentally knocked things out of the window. That gave him an idea. With Mickey and Donald close behind, Goofy managed to knock the kidnappers out of another window and into the river below. Princess Minnie and Daisy were amazed at Goofy's clever plan. Then the 3 musketeers escorted the ladies back to the palace. But the danger wasn't over yet. As Goofy stood guard outside Princess Minnie's room, another door creaked open. Oh my gosh, there's so much noise in the background. Oh my gosh, sorry guys. Okay, "Mickey?" Goofy questioned, seeing a familiar shadow. "Yes, Musketeer Goofy," said a voice. "I am in need of your assistance." Goofy followed the shadow out of the palace. Of course, it wasn't Mickey at all. Clarabelle had tricked Goofy into following her. She quickly had Goofy trapped. Meanwhile, Donald was patrolling the palace as well. When he spotted the Beagle Boys, he drew his sword. "Don't move!" Donald shouted bravely, but the Beagle Boys drew their weapons anyway. "Whack!" shouted Donald. He ran. Luckily, as he was running and hiding, he discovered Pete's secret plan. Mickey couldn't believe it when he found Donald hiding. "What's the big idea?" Mickey asked. Donald quickly explained that Pete had been planning to kidnap Minnie all along. Mickey couldn't believe it, but he He made us musketeers. It was all a lie, shouted Donald. Well, lie or no lie, musketeers don't run from danger, Mickey began, and as long as we wear these uniforms, neither do we. That was all Donald needed to hear. He tore off his uniform. Mickey tried to stop him. Donald, wait! Together we can stop Captain Pete. Donald shook his head. I just can't. I'm sorry. Mickey walked away alone. He didn't know someone was watching. Well, if it ain't the one musketeer, Pete said, stepping from the shadows. Bravely, Mickey faced him. Captain Pete, by the power vested in me as a musketeer, I arrest you! Pete laughed and with one blow knocked out Mickey. Then Pete brought Mickey to an island prison. There, Pete changed Mickey to a wall deep in a dungeon. Looks like this is the end of the line, Captain Pete said, laughing. My pals will be right behind us, Mickey shot back. Oh, sure. The duck dumped yet, and the goof is getting fitted for a halo, Captain Pete replied. Face it, you're on your own. Pete had to leave for the opera to complete his plan, but as he left, he called to Mickey. You know, they say the tide comes in faster than horses. Suddenly, water began to pour into the dungeon. Soon it would be flooded. Mickey wasn't the only one in danger. Clarabelle was about to throw Goofy off a bridge, but something unexpected happened. Goofy had fallen in love with Clarabelle. He sang her a love song, and she couldn't resist him. She told Goofy that Mickey was in great danger. As she tried to free Goofy, the bridge railing gave way. Goofy and Clarabelle plunged over the side and landed in a boat that was being rowed by Donald. But the boat sank, but everyone made it to the bank of the river. Goofy knew they had to save Mickey. It's all for one and one for all, he reminded Donald. Donald still didn't feel brave enough to help. By now, the water in Mickey's cell was rising quickly. Mickey had been able to break free from his chains. Just when it looked as if all hope was lost, Goofy and Donald arrived. They quickly freed Mickey and got him to safety. But Mickey wasn't so sure they could save the princess now. "Oh, fellas, we're not even real musketeers," he said with a sigh. "Who says so?" Goofy replied. "Donald might be a big chicken, and you're just a little guy, and I ain't no genius. But when the three of us stick together, we could do anything," finished Donald. Mickey stood up. "Musketeers, we've got a princess to save." The three friends raced off to the opera. At the opera, Minnie wondered what had happened to her bodyguards. "I'll be your bodyguard tonight," Captain Pete said. Then he scooped up Daisy and Minnie and put him in a large sack. He gave the sack to the two of the Beagle Boys. Just as the bad guys started to leave, the Three Musketeers stopped them. "All right, you two, drop the princess," Mickey ordered, and the fight was on. But they were too late. But were they too late? The smallest Beagle Boy dressed as Princess Minnie had gone on stage. "Attention, my loyal subjects," the fake princess announced. "Due to the stress of princessing, I now present your new ruler, King Pete." The audience sat in shock as the opera began, and a sword fight erupted on stage. From his seat, Captain Pete saw the battle and quickly joined in. Mickey had just freed Minnie and Daisy when he had to face Captain Pete alone. Goofy and Donald were too busy with the Beagle Boys to help. Pete managed to knock Mickey to the ground. "It's all over," Pete said, "and you're all alone." "Wanna bet?" Mickey said, looking up. Goofy and Donald were on their way. They had just defeated the Beagle Boys backstage. Together, they knocked Captain Pete silly and ended his evil plan. So this is how Princess Minnie came to make all three friends her royal musketeers. Mickey, Donald, and Goofy could hardly believe it. They might not be the biggest, smartest, or bravest of all, but by working together, they had made their dreams come true. As the crowd cheered, Mickey couldn't help shouting, "All for one!" And everyone, even Princess Minnie, called, and one for
Uh,
all.
is.
The end. So that is it for today, everyone. We really hope you all enjoyed it, and we'll see you all next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Pick out your favorite page. That's a very good page. Who's your favorite character?
Buzz.
Mickey Mouse.